This video is actually going to hit a good many tools at one time because some of them are very simple. We'll pick up right here with inspect. What this does is it just adds the symbol you see in red there to a dimension, and it lets, just like it says in that description right there, it specifies how frequently manufactured parts should be checked to ensure values and tolerances are correct. It's very simple to use. It's information for the person who's reading the drawings and manufacturing these things. So if you hit the tool, it's just going to bring up this little dialog box. It lets you pick, what shape do I want the symbol to be? Does it have rounded ends? Does it have angular ends? Or does it have no enclosure whatsoever? It's just the dimension itself and how often. I can put a specific label on it if I want to, and specify what's the rate. So let's say 80% of the time we wanted this particular dimension to be inspected. In other words, we wanted it to be checked in the facility. We'll select angular just so it'll look a little different. And when I hit OK, it's going to tell me I have no dimensions that have been selected. Do I want to select them? I would say yes. And let's say this dimension right here needed to be inspected. These two, I wanted these two dimensions for width and this dimension for depth, or height in this case, selected to put this symbol on. So as soon as I select them and hit enter or right click, it's going to verify, okay, this is what you want, this is the rate, so you'd hit OK. Now those particular dimensions, they hold the dimension that they had, 2.13, 3.38, so on and so forth, but they just have that symbol around them with 80%. That means that 80% of the time I should field check these dimensions to make sure they're correct. And that's all that is. It's very simple to do. This button is an update dimension styles. What it does is it allows you, if you change dimension styles, if you change a setting in it, or if you switch to a new one, then I could use this button to update all the selected dimensions to the current style. So if I change my style from full scale to 6, well, we won't go that. Let's go 1.5 to 1. And I hit update, select the objects I want to update. Let's say I selected these and right click or hit enter, and you can see it updates those dimensions to the style I just picked, the current style. So if I go back to 1 to 1, full scale is what it was, I can hit update, select these, right click or hit enter, and it goes back to whatever the current style is. So that's what it's just a quick way to update all the dimensions that you select to whatever the current style is showing up here. This tool just adds a little jog line to the dimension, and this is a good example of why you would use it. If you're dimensioning a length or a height where you're not actually showing the whole length or height, but you're giving it an overall dimension, meaning that, just like this example, there's a couple of break lines in that wall, just to say, you know what, the wall's the same between the break lines. There's no need to show the whole wall. It's identical from left to right. And I have a crunch in space. I don't have enough space to show the whole thing. So I'm telling you, according to that red dimension right there, that it's 48 units long, but I'm not really showing it 48 units. If you scaled it, it may only be 30 or less. But that dimension is actually 48. That's what it should be. And that's when you would use the jog line. So if I hit the jog line tool, it's very simple. Select the dimension I want to add it to. I'm going to add it to this one. Where do I want it? Let's say I just want it right here. Left click again. I got my jog line, and that's all it is. And it just lets me know that this dimension in reality is 5.5, but I may not be showing it exactly, or I shouldn't be showing it exactly 5.5 on my drawing. It's just letting you know that's what it should be. And that's how the jog works. Down here we have a couple of other little tools. One of them, this one I'm fixing to show you, is kind of, I won't say it's pointless, but there's easier ways to do it. But it's called the reassociate tool, and what it does is it just allows me to take a dimension and reassociate it to objects that it has been removed. Anytime I take an object like this and I pull the grips off of it, obviously it's not associated with it anymore, so if I move or stretch the object, the dimension's not going to go with it. You can use this tool by selecting it. Select the object, say, hey, I want to reassociate this dimension. Right click. Where should my first extension line go to? It should go here. Where should my second extension line go? It should go here. And it just reassociates it. And then you still may have to adjust a little bit. That's how the tool works, but it's just as easy, if not easier, in my opinion. If you had a weird situation like that, just to select it, select the grip, put the grips back where they should be. You've done the same exact thing. So, but that's what that tool is for. This one will say for machine drafting, it's a tolerance symbol legend that we can put in there. Center mark, we've talked about that one. If I have a circle anywhere, and I want to put a center mark in it, I can just use this tool for the center mark. Select the tool, it says select arc or circle. As soon as I select it, it pops a center mark in there. And that's all there is to it. So, and remember, the size of this is dictated by the actual dim style that you're using right now. So this full scale dim style is dictating what this looks like and how big it is. Okay. And also remember that these marks are nothing more than just a series of lines that are automatically created. So if I wanted to shrink this, scale it, pull these in, anything I wanted to do, I could. It's just a bunch of lines. But that's how the center mark tool works. It's very simple. Obliquing of the dimensions, it simply just makes the extension lines go at an angle that you specify. This is used in isometric drawings a lot, of course. If I chose this tool, it's going to ask me to select the objects. I'm just going to select this one. Through selecting objects, so I'd right click, hit enter, enter the angle. So if you wanted it at a 60-degree angle, you could type in 60, hit enter. It obliques or angles the extension lines at 60 degrees. It's just that simple. And the degree is going to depend on what view you're looking at and what your intents are, but that's how you use the tool. It's very, very simple. These others are rarely used in this capacity, but they're here. This is a text angle. It rotates just the text or about the dimension line. So if I wanted to take this text and rotate it at, say, a 30-degree angle, I could select the dimension. Just select this tool right here, text angle. Select the dimension, specify the angle for the text. We'll say 30 degrees, hit enter. I got 30-degree text. Not used a lot, but there may be a use for it at some point, and that's a pretty easy way to do it. These others are just justification. I can left, center, or right justify something. Again, select the tool, select the dimension, and it right justifies it. Pretty simple. And then this last one is an override. I would suggest against using this because it's, for one, it's hard to use. There's an easier way to do it. If I select override, what it does is allow you to change variables about a dimension outside of the dimension style itself. So in other words, the dimension style is set to be a certain height, a certain font, certain arrow type, those sorts of things. The override is just making changes to one, but not the whole style. The problem is when I hit this button, it asks you to enter dimension variable name to override. In other words, you got to know what to type in to override the look of this dimension, which most of the time we don't know that. An easier way to do it would just be to select the dimension, look over here at the properties palette, and if you don't have that, you can right click and go to properties and it'll show up. But on this properties palette, then just find whatever it is you're wanting to change it, and it'll override it. That's the simplest way to do that. But that's all. That's a quick rundown of the dimension tools and some of the smaller things that may be useful for you.